What is up, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in to this next video of the Airfix Hawker Hurricane Mark 1. Now, in my previous two videos, I built the other Hurricanes built by other companies that are relatively new. Those videos are meant to be comparison videos for each other, so you can pick and decide which Hurricane you like the best. I picked the Hobby Boss one, but there's certainly a lot of awesome features that this Airfix one has, and it turned out being a great kit. It's a lot of fun to build, and honestly, it's very simple and easy to understand. Also, this kit provides a lot of detail on the inside and exterior that leads to a great build for Airfix. This was my first Airfix kit, and I was surprised to see how intricate all the parts fit and went together. Honestly, I was not expecting to have to build the wheel well and cockpit area attaching to the wings first before building a very simple interior, but this led to a very nice complete build. All the pieces fit in properly, and if placed correctly, they went into each slot perfectly. The plastic was not as brittle and not as kind of finagly as most plastics, as this plastic was pretty thick, but it didn't take away from any details. It was just nicely molded. Honestly, probably some of the finer plastic that I've worked with. Some other plastics can be pretty kind of brittle and just break and really are scary to kind of work with, but this wasn't the case for this Airfix kit. It could be bended and maneuvered as much as possible to get these small dinky parts together, and once together it ended up being really good. Now, the Airfix kit is the only kit that features behind the seat detail, which you can't see in the actual airplane, but it's nice to have. The rest of the aircraft had minimal detail and was very good for a decent build. I primed the interior with some green, and then after I primed all the little tiny parts and pieces that went into the interior, I then painted the interior with a nice cockpit green by Tamiya. The other two cockpits had some nice PE, but I'll just use at this point I'd figured out that you can't see the interior of the actual instrument panel anyways, so I might as well just use the decal anyways. Then I went on to highlight some extra interior parts, put in some custom seat belts, and finish up the customization of the interior. After some chipping and some washes and stuff, the interior was finally finished, and we can get on with the rest of the build. This kit also provides with really good detail on the side panels of the Airfix kit, and also really good details of the wing bay doors. So that is a really big plus if you want to see the guns on the inside. Here I am assembling the guns. They're really easy to assemble. It's only like 6 parts, and all the parts fit in really well. All the parts slotted in nice and easily, and it didn't interfere with the wings when they went together as well. So that was a nice thing that happened. These side structures actually went in literally perfectly, and I couldn't ask for an easier build. But there is one drawback, is that you do have to cut out these panels, which I'm not opposed of them doing this, as it's pretty easy to just take your knife and run it through the plastic a few hundred times. I know I say that lightly, but a few hundred times, and then it's easy to cut out. Next, you just sand away those little extra parts, and you move on with the build. This actually doesn't take that long, and this is the first time I've actually cut away panels, making sure that I didn't have to fill in any things that I screwed up. So it went pretty well. Next, you just simply super glue the innards to the parts and then slap the fuselage together. This was one drawback to the fit of the actual model. They didn't actually fit quite well together, but this is just the case with every single model you deal with. So really, it was just a standard procedure fuselage fit. Next, I can again go ahead and finally finish up these interior of the wings, because I just wanted to make sure that everything fit together first before I finished the interior of the wings. I do some weathering on the guns, and I paint them black, and then do some silvering, and then I wash it with I think I washed this with African dirt. The reason why I picked that wash, no reason. Just a nice brown wash, and it was really thick, so I just wanted it really thick in there. I remove most of the excess with a Q-tip and then move on to the next build after that part was all finished. The wings fit together really well also, and I honestly couldn't ask for a better fit. They click together. They were a little bit warped at the backside, so just make sure that you just tape it together and just wait a few minutes, and then it'll go together just fine. But all the seams on the wings were really nice too. They're really, all you had to do was just use 1000 grit on the front and back, and you were good to go. Now the fuselage fits in there literally perfectly, so just make sure your wings are slotted in right, and then you can pop that fuselage right in between the wings, and it literally clicks into place like a Lego. It's super nice. The only kit out of the 3 that had major seams to fill was actually only the artillery one. The Hobby Boss one really didn't have any seams other than the panels that are for the guns, which I did the guns on the interior of that one anyways, so didn't want to fill those in. But next we can just pop some tape on the things. These are actually aftermarket, so just get yourself an aftermarket set. It just makes it so much easier. The Airfix kit actually didn't come with any PE or any masking, which the other 2 kits actually did come with those things. So that's one drawback that this kit has, but for the price, you really can't argue with this kit and how nice and quality the plastic is. I do believe that this is the clearest plastic of the 3. So the window actually shows up super clear. So if you wanted your Hurricane to look perfect at the end of the job, then this is the kit for you, because this clear parts are so pristinely clear, literally crystal clear, and I didn't have to use any aftermarket stuff on it to make it more clear. This is the after product of the bottom. I just did some pre-shading and then I just went ahead and popped some tan on there. Honestly, don't even remember which tan I used, but anyways, it just worked out the way it was. Next, I actually pre-shaded the top after all the taping was done, and then colored in each panel as for a weathered effect. I will be honest, when I was doing 3 at a time, I actually accidentally painted this one blue, and it was supposed to be tan. So I just used that to my advantage, and actually the underside of this is also the wrong color. So anyways, I just went ahead with it and painted it gray or blue. It's supposed to be ocean blue for the Hobby Boss one. Mixed it up. It was very late. And then I figured it out that I mixed up the two airplanes. Had to reorganize all my files on, how I videoed them. And then I finally got to painting them, repainting them tan, and the proper colors that they needed. Finally got to this camo spot. We're pretty much almost done with this build. So this is another Tamiya dark green RAF color that I used for the green color. All 3 got the same Tamiya color. This one is just the standard. I didn't add any white or tan to the mix. I have it mixed pretty thin, and I'm only going about 15 psi on the air compressor. I have it mixed about 80-20 right now. I realize that it's a bit thin, so later on I fix it and then go on from there. I'd rather it be thinner than not, too thick, because then you're just going to leave splattering everywhere. So I'll just be patient and just wait my time out with just doing this 1,000 times. I'd rather do that than just have a really bad paint job. I really like doing this camo because it really improves my skill with the airbrush, and I think the more skills you have with an airbrush, the easier job you have as a modeler. I feel like the quicker you can get in and out of an airbrush, the quicker your builds can be. You don't have to sit there and mess around so much. So every time I get the chance to airbrush, I appreciate that time and difficulty of figuring it out. And I feel like every single time I figure it out. So I might be doing something wrong. I think maybe Vallejo paints might help that. But anyways, so this is a really fun part for me. I like doing the camouflage. It's relaxing to do it. But after the camouflage is all done, finally able to reveal the bottom. And what a nice bottom that came out with. I really like the tan color. I think all 3 of these Hurricanes differ in a lot of different ways. Not just the camouflage being different colors, the tans being different colors, and the bottoms being different colors, but each one just has a special touch, and I think that's important to do if you're doing scale models. Next, I can assemble the propeller, and all the propellers got the same treatment, just because the yellow is probably probably the same on all 3 of them, so I figured I might as well just paint all 3 of them the same color. I can slap that finally on and then be done with this build. Next is just the tiny parts that go on afterwards. All the like decals and stuff are on it. The front part was painted red, just a custom red mix that I made myself, and I just taped it off rather than using decals. But the front decal is included in the set. I would just rather not. I'd just rather have it match the prop and be done with it. Next, I can reveal the shiny plastic underneath and continue on from there. All the decals were really nice in the Airfix set. In fact, I think out of the 3, these were the best decals out of the 3. They were just thin enough to disappear, like the ridges and everything on the outside to disappear, and they were thick enough that they didn't just dissipate or have really any issues. So I was really happy to use these decals. They went on super well, and honestly barely had to use any microsol. They just sunk right into that plastic, and it was a really good experience. Along with the rest of the build, everything clicked into place well. I mean, a tremendous build. Artillery was probably last on the list for ease and fit, but this one was definitely second, because Hobby Boss actually fit in like a Lego set. It was insane how good it actually fit in, but this was third. But thank you guys so much again for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, let me know what's up. Let's get back to building.